So yeah, I always want to know what it was like to verify functions are inverses algebraically. Can you show me?
Sure, I'd love to show you how to find verify inverse functions algebraically. Great question, Stephen. All right, well, if a function g is the inverse function of f, then it must also be true that the function f is the inverse function of g. Makes sense. Functions are inverses of each other. So for example 3 here, we got to show that these two functions are inverses of one another. And the way that we do that is we just plug them into each other. So what we're going to do is we're going to find f of f to the negative 1 of x. Actually, this would be f of g of x. And then we're going to find g of f of x. So let's first find our f of g of x. That means we're going to take the g of x function and plug it in for x. So if we are given f of x equals x squared plus 1, we're going to take our g of x function and we're going to plug it in for x right here. So we're going to say f of g of x is going to be equal to, well, we take out our x and we're going to replace that with the square root of x minus 1 quantity squared, or as we used to say back in the day, squared. Well, and then we simplify. So what's the square root of a square? Square of a square root? Well, those just cancel each other out. So you get x minus 1 plus 1. So if you combine those, that means you get an x. Okay, so f of g of x equals x. Interesting. Well, let's just hold that thought for a moment. And if we want to find g of f of x, then that means we're going to need to plug in our f of x into g. So we're going to take our f of x function and substitute in for x of your g function. So take out this x, and in its place we're going to plug in x squared plus 1. And then you still have this lazy negative 1 behind it. So if you simplify from here, you're going to get the square root of, well, 1 minus 1 is just gone. So what is the square root of x squared? It is going to be just an x. So what we showed by substituting each function into one another, we showed that if these are both going to be equal to x's, after you do that, here and here, then the functions are inverses of one another. And that is how you prove or verify that algebraically.